So over the weekend, I went to the beach, and while I was there, I went to a game store and recorded a YouTube short. And the floor of this game store was all covered in cards, and there was an underground sea in the entryway. And people were torn between, oh, that's so dope, and that is a reserve list card that is now trapped there forever. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today, Maddie has asked me to play with Sandlands once again. And her version is trying to test a couple of specific things. She and a friend have been playing this deck list. Thing number one is Sylvan Library. This is a card that used to see a relatively significant amount of legacy play, honestly, probably north of a decade ago at this point. And unfortunately, things like Orcish Bowmasters now just exist in this world that make this card significantly worse than it used to be. And playing something like Sylvan Library is going to come at the cost of a copy of something like Winding Way or Sandman. And we are inches away from me no longer having to say or look at the Scouring Stormstole. The Marvel versions of these cards are coming to Magic Online soon. And the other thing these two are curious about is Hall of Heliod's Generosity good? These Sandlands decks want to use Exploration and Manabond to kind of go wild with the land drops. And when you have things like Life from the Loam and Malevolent Rumble that can be filling your graveyard and giving you a bunch of lands, sometimes you just need the ability to get back one of these things that lets you dump all the lands into play. I, generally speaking, am of the opinion that if a deck list is submitted to me with Hall of Heliod's Generosity, it is the first card that I cut. I think this card is very, very, very slow, but I've been asked not to remove it or the Sylvan Library today. Another thing this deck list is testing is a higher land count than I have done previously. So the last couple of times I have played this deck, I have been rocking about 32 lands. This one has gone up to 35. So again, this is another thing that comes at the cost of a couple of these being maxed out. Although you might not necessarily want to max out Life from the Loam if you are just going to Winding Way or Mulch or Malevolent Rumble over one at some point over the course of a game. As always, we are ultimately looking to win with Field of the Dead. I have only made a single change to the mana base here, as I was asked largely to not touch the mana base. The only thing that I have done is there was a Taiga here, simply for a different name with the Field of the Dead, that I have switched to a Temple Garden because we're trying to activate a white card occasionally in this deck. And Savannah is the only fetchable white source in the deck. The other ones, or sorry, there's also Lush Portico, but some of the white sources in this deck are simply not fetchable. And that was just something I wanted to make sure that if we are going to be playing this card, we have the best chance possible of activating it. And part of the reason I don't like cards like Hall of Heliod's Generosity is that they are a colorless land in a deck that already is running a ton of colorless land. But I am very much of the opinion that occasionally you should just shut up and test the card and see how it actually performs. So, Hall of Heliod's Generosity, my sniper rifle is set, laser targeted at you. We'll see if you can put up the results. I am going to get a little spicy in the sideboard here. I'm going to try out a couple copies of Iced-Hill Explorer today. I don't think this is a card that I want in game one, but in the post-sideboard games where my opponent has presumably boarded out all of their removal, or at least a good portion of their removal, playing this as Manabond / Exploration number 9 and 10 that also can like mill towards my Life from the Loams and whatnot seems kind of interesting to me. I don't know if it's full-on good, but I have been impressed seeing this card on the other side of the battlefield. And as a way to potentially rebuy things like Wasteland and Ghost Quarter in the Tron matchup, maybe it matters. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into a league here. Folks, if you need any cards, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. And when you do, use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on your order while supporting my content. I'm potentially going to a Commander event in August that I'm starting to work out, and I think I'm going to need some new stuff for then. I'm going to need some new tech. So, with that being said, let's battle. The last time that I played this deck, I believe my YouTube thumbnail was just something like, "This league is absolute fire." So hopefully we bring some of that same energy today. Presuming that the exploration resolves, my hand has a lot of long-term potential. And it did resolve. Fantastic. I would love to draw a fetch land or a wasteland to get some immediate life from the loam value on my next turn. But it's okay if we don't. You'd like to try to wasteland me off of my green? You would. That's fine. By the way, Maddie, our donor for this league, has also asked for a shout out for trans rights. Absolutely. All day, every day. And I will get some statistics for our fundraiser in the not too distant future. But I am recording this before the fundraiser actually ends up going live. So, you know. That's life. Just full-on concession to exploration life from the loam. Hell yeah. Deck's perfect, no changes. Yeah, what am I supposed to do in this position? So my opponent is a deck that can't beat life from the loam. Does that mean they are a control deck? Like, am I expecting cameo shit? In which case, Disruptor Flute or Dismember is interesting. And I just want to play one more Blast Zone and call that good. What am I taking out here? Baracus? I don't know. That's something that's good against Tameo. I don't know. No changes. Deck's perfect. Okay, I think I mulligan a lot of opening hands that don't have access to a way to make extra land drops. Yeah, like this is great. So I will keep this. Maybe getting rid of this one. It's very good if my exploration resolves, and extremely bad if it doesn't. I think I'm going to hedge against the extremely bad case. Polluted Delta comes down. I think I am just sending this here. And if it gets dazed, it gets dazed. Basic Island, Brainstorm. Force of Negation, pitching Murktide Regent. So are you a Dimir deck? Wasteland's fine. I have so many lands in this deck. Temple Garden. Pass turn. And like all of these cards can just be looking for a Maze of Ith to stop Murktide Regent style cards. Oh. Opponent is going for a suboptimal flow state rather than trying to wasteland me and keep me off of 2 mana to cast my first spell. That might be an indication that they just have another flow state that they need to cast. Rumbling? Like rumbling here. This lets me look for an exploration or Manabond style card. Daze. Sure. Okay, they are Dimir. You can wasteland me. I can wasteland you? Seems like I can wasteland you. I'll do it in their upkeep on the off chance that Stifle style cards are live. Got them. That basic island comes back. I will go ahead and mulch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 cards in hand. I've made my land drop. The Force of Negation earlier in the game sent my exploration to exile, so Hall of Helios Generosity is not actually getting that back. Yeah, and opponent is just like, I'm done. I'm out. I've got like 3 cards. You've got 7. Very, very easy game there. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I love them. I have over 1,000 deck lists here. And I think the thing that I like the most about them is they're more than just a basic deck builder. If you need information about your next pre-release or where you can get cards, they have that sort of stuff here too. Whether you need to manage your collection or just a couple of decks, Moxfield does it all. So go check them out. All right, opening hand looks pretty darn good. Misty Rainforest comes down. There is a lot of nuance here in this turn about like whether or not you cast Exploration or Manabond. I think that I'm going to do Exploration. It does resolve. I could also then use this as an opportunity to cast Manabond when it is likely to resolve as well then. And then hopefully next turn I mulch it up and then put a ton of lands into play at the same time with Field of the Dead. Or rather, for Field of the Dead purposes. Meticulous Archive. The Prismatic Ending style cards are on the table to answer this stuff. That's a Ponder. And a Tamiyo. You've got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I am willing to play around days here for this mulch. Like so. There's 1 and 2. Notably, putting Sandman to the graveyard. And now my opponent is going to have a bad time. So if you haven't seen this happen before, all of these lands enter at the same time, meaning that they see each other for Field of the Dead purposes. So this is tapped. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for this. So yes, I will pay the life. So Field of the Dead happens. Actually, I would rather Wasteland. Let's change my line. Let's Wasteland this. Fetch some land. This is a snow-covered forest, so this can be, I don't know, Savannah. Trigger my thing. I think I just Blast Zone the Tamiyo and these away. I think I've changed my line. This leaves all of my zombies 12 power on an empty board with Field of the Dead coming and Sandman to rebuy Wasteland. I could have thought through the Temple Garden slightly more than I did. I still ended up using the mana. I think Wastelanding was just way too important there. Yeah, that's a shuffle. I don't know what you're looking for. Swords to Plowshares on a zombie token. You bet. You might absolutely use your swords on that. In we go. Opponent to 9. I think casting Rumble is fine. Wasteland. Wasteland immediately. So play that. Get another zombie friend. Wasteland you, because of Yavimaya, still have 5 mana to bring Sandman and probably Wasteland back from graveyard. Absolute crushing victory. GG. So we are playing against some Bant nonsense of some kind. I should keep in mind that it is possible for them to have Wrath of the Skies for Field of the Dead, and that it is possible for them to have Prismatic Ending. So sometimes I might not want to play out a Manabond until the turn that I use it. I don't hate one more Blast Zone to answer Tamiyo. I didn't see a ton of their deck. It's very possible there's Felia Riddler stuff in there, in which case Dismember is pretty okay. I might just make a substitution of one colorless land for another and not sideboard anything else until I see more of their deck. I don't think I love this hand. It's fine. But again, I think the hands that have the 1 mana extra land drop enablers are incredibly strong, just in this deck in general. I will mulligan this. Yes, I will keep this. I don't know how to play this hand on 5. I think it's get rid of this. So I think the hope is that Manabond takes the first counterspell or Prismatic Ending, and then Sylvan Library can stick around, and I just eat 8 life a couple turns in a row to make it do gross, disgusting things. There is a Wasteland. Counter it. Yeah. We'll see if my opponent's Tamiyo spirals the game out of control very quickly, though. I don't remove that creature very well. Alright, cool. No immediate follow-up. Draw step Surgical Manabond. Yeah, you got it. If my opponent only has 1 land, they actually can't take advantage of their clues. Let's go land drop, library. All right. A niche card, but one that was just very, very good. Opponent is down to 1 card. I'm hoping they just kind of miss land drops, and the Tamiyo is not overly effective, giving me time to draw out of my current situation. So let's rumble. Oh, that's the literal card I wanted. So we find Exploration. I play Exploration. I get a Field of the Dead into play, and I milled over Life from the Loam as well. My opponent is in trouble. They now can crack Tameo clues, but I have double Field of the Dead looming here. And they have already used a surgical, so I can get 3 lands back. Canopy, Arrakis, thing with a different name. 1 and 2. Alright, opponent's fetching. Would be a big moment to hit a Force of Negation off of this draw. If they had more surgical extractions, it may have been correct to ag this. Rather, crack the clue, look for another surgical, attempt to surgical loam before I do the thing that I just did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be land 6. Go Horizon Canopy. And I think I will just bounce this out of play immediately while my opponent is tapped out. I don't think I need to draw with Horizon Canopy, but I can leave this floating in play now, so that if my opponent attempts to surgical Life from the Loam, I just crack this land. I will get this back. Actually, is that true? Yeah, I think that's true. I think I'm going to go bam, Wooded Foothills, double trigger, fetch, surveil land, double trigger. That can go to graveyard. Then Life from the Loam, get Maze, fetch land, Wasteland, 1 and 2. And now I have a protected Life from the Loam and, I don't know, a gajillion zombies a turn. Yeah, you can crack your clue token. That is fine. Land drop. Crack clue. We're chillin'. Yeah, like, how are you supposed to win? How are you supposed to stop the Sandlands? Can't stop the Sandlands. GG. 2-0. Alright, I think I just mulligan things that don't have one of my 1-drops. Hey, it's one of my 1-drops. I am in for this. So how do I want to play it? I'm going to put the Mortuary back in my deck. I think my goal is turn 1 Manabond, turn 2 Mulch, fill up my hand, and then don't mind discarding this. We can just get a basic here. We have very little to worry about in game 1 in terms of mana requirements. The only weird thing is the activation of Hall of Heliod's Generosity, which I'm not super worried about making happen. Another blue gamer. Okay, now it's combo. And Doomsday is really, really scary for me. Basically, we don't have Thoughtseize in this build. So we are incredibly reliant on the card Disruptor Flute, or just going so quickly that our opponent dies. Opponent to 9. Ooh, am I dead this turn? Ooh, I might be dead immediately. Brainstorm. Now we're going to get LED plus another Cycler. And now that my opponent can crack that, they can consider, mill away 1 card, and then Oracle. 0 cards in hand. Exexies. If I make it to my turn, I can, like, Boseiju their land drop and potentially do something interesting. But we just got turned 1 by a very, very, very strong hand. GG. Potentially get some flutes in here. I can play Endurance as something that both attacks my opponent and has the potential to put some cards back onto the bottom of their library to stop a Thassa's Oracle kill. So I guess I'll do that. I don't so much need to be worried about, like, Maze of Ith here. I can probably cut some number of lands. Like, I can probably cut about 4 lands without super noticing them. Sylvan Library is very slow for this matchup. I think I'm going to turn Hall of Heliod's Generosity, again, which is very slow, into just some land that has some tiny, tiny, tiny amount of interaction versus Doomsday. Then from here, it's starting to get a little tricky. This is something that I would probably just cast as a 3-mana threat, rather than bring it back from the graveyard here. I think I'm just going to trim a couple of those. Maybe that's wrong. I also should have looked at my opponent's exile pile. I didn't do that. Yeah, this is fine. There's a little bit of tension between, like, wanting to mana bond all of my lands into play and wanting to keep Endurance for Doomsday. Bayou. Mana bond. Force of Negation, pitching an Oracle. So there has to be either another Oracle or a Jace Wielder of Mysteries as something that my opponent can do here, and a Ponder. Or there can be like pivot things like Barrowglyphs and Murktide Regents and whatnot. That's an okay draw that doesn't do anything immediately. I'm just going to take a dual land here. Put the fear of blue in my opponent's heart. I'm going to rumble and look for a thing that gives me extra land drops. I succeed. And then, again, things can get a little weird with the endurance. I'm pretty far away from enough lands to do the Field of the Dead thing, but we could get there immediately. Opponent to 18. That is a personal tutor. We know Doomsday is coming. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this like this. Ooh, buddy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not counting Wasteland as it's a duplicate. There's Manabond. We're going to go ahead and move to the end step, I think. And I am going to get rid of Endurance Winding Way to do the thing that I am about to do. Oh no, it was double Field of the Dead too. That's still fine, and I still think I would have done it. Ooh, the Edge of Autumn. So now my opponent is going to know to do something that plays around getting wastelanded, which is not great for me. They do need to have a Dark Ritual here in order to cast the Doomsday. That was a shuffle. I think the shuffle just spiked that Dark Ritual. All right. I think I messed up. I think I just play Wasteland as my land drop, Wasteland my opponent, and then I don't know, if I don't put all of these lands into play now, it's a little tough. Yeah, opponent just fully on combo. Is this the blink thing? Yeah. Let's surveil. Exploration does not do anything right now. Disruptor Flute does. I'm presuming that there is a second Thassa's Oracle here, and that is what I am supposed to name with Disruptor Flute. I do this on my opponent's turn, so Force of Negation is not a thing. 1 force, 2 force, 3 force. Yeah, there might be a fourth one of those. I think I will Disruptor Flute on my opponent's turn. Say no to Manabond. So do the flute. Alright. So we'll see if that's good enough. Thassa's Oracle now costs 5. There might be a Lion's Eye Diamond in my opponent's pile. There's some zombies. End of turn Brainstorm. There's an Underground Sea that I can Wasteland. Dark Ritual is unfortunate. Is Edge of Autumn already gone? Edge of Autumns are already gone. I think in case there's one more, I'm going to just Wasteland this now anyway, before this LED is in play. Alright, so there's Street Wraith, and now this can be Thassa's Oracle. Oh, even with Consider. And that is 6 mana. The Disruptor Flute line is not strong enough. This is a matchup that I would just outright expect to lose just about every time, though. Without Thoughtseize, I don't think we have enough interaction for this matchup. And Doomsday is often just very, very tough. The deck is very good, especially now with flow states. Flow states let you be a little more aggressive with doing things like Force of Negation to stop what your opponent is doing, and then you can just easily refuel if you get stopped. GG, we're 2-1. Okay, this is an opening hand that does not have the 1-drop that I want, but it has the possibility to potentially find it with Malevolent Rumble. I think I am just going to keep this one and hope that it works out. I can technically mill over it with Life from the Loam and get it back via Hall of Heliod's Generosity as well, although that is an extremely, extremely slow line. Opponent did mulligan to 6, by the way. Ooh, lands mirror of some kind where my opponent has the exploration first. Yeah. That's actually very annoying as a start. It also means that I can't really surveil here, which means I'm not getting my white mana that I want to get. Alright, we are going to get a snow-covered forest here for different name purposes. And then I'm going to rumble. Whatever goes to graveyard, I probably end up losing to Soul Guide Lantern. I think I have time to find another Field of the Dead elsewhere. I think I want to have the ability to cast Life from the Loam, targeting 3 things. Have my opponent nuke the graveyard, either to take care of the Loam or to stop me from getting those lands. and then still have Wasteland. Problem is that my opponent just sheerly has more land drops than I do right now. Another thing about just having a Wasteland in hand is that it helps to check Urza's Saga, which is potentially problematic for me. Maze is fine. This is a matchup where this will probably look pretty good. I'm expecting extremely long games. Pithing Needle, yeah. This could get real weird. Opponent could be Pithing Needling their own Wastelands here. Oh, good call, opponent. Seen my bullshit before. Ooh, nice. So let's see what you do with this. 1, 2, 3 targets. And I think I'm not going to show the exploration immediately. See what my opponent thinks of this. Okay, they are going to just nuke the graveyard immediately. So now I will play my own exploration. I will attempt to wasteland your wasteland and see if you have a crop rotation to say about that. You do. But like I have Life from the Loam Wasteland, unless I get bogged here. Do get bogged here. That was about as badly as that could have gone. I will drop a maze and pass. I do think I am rather favored in this position, though. Wasteland on my opponent's side, taking out a Maze of Ith. I've got another. That I dislike a lot. But now my opponent has active Loam, and I don't. Yep. This is also a very bad threat into these cards. So, land drop, play small creature. I think I went from being extremely favored to win to extremely likely to lose when my opponent had the crop rotation for the Wasteland. And that just is what it is. Now I can't play Maze of Ith to hold back Dark Depths combo. Very bad draw. I think I just do nothing here. Like, I can attack and make my opponent tap Maze of Ith, but that doesn't do anything right now. So I think I am just chilling. Loam reveals Yavimaya. Opponent doesn't have both sides of their combo yet. I can work towards having a bunch of lands in hand and like trying to do Manabond crimes. That's about the most I can do. Thespian Stage comes down. Alright, there is Manabond. Blast Zone exists, so I don't think I play this out yet. In we go. Get mazed. Making them tap maze is now slightly more relevant that Yavimaya is in play. I am just going to die to another crop rotation, though. Just crop rotation away, like float a mana. Sure. Alright, there's the Dark Depths. I am probably effectively dead at this stage. Wasteland just beats the Maze of Ith that I have. That is unfortunate, but I think that's just where we're at. One also has double Wasteland. Although I guess double Maze of Ith wasn't getting me out of that anyway. I don't know, maybe there's some line where I just rip Caracas, and then I don't know. My opponent can just do that every turn forever. If I've got an out, it is through a card like this. Yeah, so there's Caracas. So 1, 2, 3 cards to hand. I Caracas that. That buys me a turn to find Loam and do it again. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different names already. I think I am going to just thin another basic land out of my deck. And my mana could be tight enough that this matters in the future. I get mazed. We'll say no to Manabond. We're trying to hold most of the lands for potential Field of the Dead while answering Merit Lage nonsense. So Loam can get back the stage in the depths. Opponent can also just take the time to Boseiju this stuff if they think that's better. Or maybe do both. Yeah, they can just do both. They're not taking that action immediately. That is not going to do it for me. So I'm now dead to the Dark Depths. I can play out a Maze of Ith. It gets wastelanded, and my opponent can still do their thing. GG. That did not quite work out. That crop rotation was devastating, and the Soul Guide Lantern just happening to be in the opening hand also was not great for me. So I am into Ice Till Explorer. Again, the extra land drop stuff matters a lot. I don't mind Endurance. I don't mind Disruptor Flute. I don't mind Ghost Quarter, and I can think about these. Is this even realistic? versus opposing tutorable Caracas and Bojuka Bog. I don't know if this is realistic. Might just go like bam bam. That gets me 2 Ice Till Explorers as alternative threats, 1 Endurance, 2 Endurances. I think I'm going to turn Hall into Ghost Quarter. Maybe not to you. I want this. You squint at it funny, that does the same thing as Maze of Ith. I could go down a land to play some other cards. I don't know exactly how to board here. It looks like there's a ton of different ways I could approach this, and there might be like play versus draw differences. Manabond is fine. Exploration is better. I think I am okay keeping this. I'm not going to go all in on a Life from the Loam on turn 1 or anything, though. I will go ahead and play out the Manabond immediately. Yavimaya. I'll play my own. I will play my own. And I'm going to Malevolent Rumble. Terrible set of cards. Take a fetch since it can potentially be a Surveil land. Alright, well maybe I end up emptying my hand next turn and then Manabond is good. So I can do something like 2 mana Winding Way, play a land, 2 mana Life from the Loam, dump everything in. Maybe. Boseiju is a thing that exists. Ooh, I like that. Let's do that now. That hedges against Boseiju happening a little bit. Land drop 1. Winding Way. Land. Ooh, buddy. Do I greed with Loam, or do I just play a Wasteland? I think I just play a Wasteland. And I think I'm going to get to the point where my Manabond trigger goes on the stack. Yeah, that's why I didn't Loam. I will use this ability. Get a basic. Probably Wasteland my opponent off of their Thespian stage. Now I will just go ahead and go to my second main, where I can now get Wasteland, Lush Portico, and probably just a regular land. 3, 6, 7, 8. Discard Verdant? Question mark. And now I'm just going to be looking for a Field of the Dead. Rop Rotation. Yeah, you can bog me. And Urza's Saga, which I will attempt to Wasteland away. Malevolent Rumble is great. I'm just going to do this now to see if there's another crop rotation. Yavimaya does mean that crop rotation is live. There is another crop rotation. Presumably another Urza Saga? A Wasteland, sure. I will Rumble. Ooh, Ice Till Explorer. Did I play a land this turn yet? I did. I can't get to Ice Till Explorer immediately, but it looks damn good. I think I will take that. I don't know, do I actually need it over just Exploration? I think I do. I think I will just Wasteland my opponent off of Bojuka Bog here, and we can call that a turn. Then I will start doing Ice Till Explorer Wasteland crimes to my opponent. Thespian stage comes down, and Life from the Loam. Seems great. So, oh god. 1, 2, 3, 4, Ice Till Explorer, Wasteland from Graveyard, Wasteland from Graveyard, Wasteland U, Wasteland U, Field or Wasteland. I think I want a Wasteland in play. I don't know. I can just take Field and Manabond. Yeah. Yeah. I will use Manabond's ability. Yep. Okay, I mean, that's exactly what I envisioned Ice Till Explorer doing, so that was great. GG. Crop rotation is kind of annoying. It does so much. Do I want more Boseiju to just use on Urza Saga? Do I not want to fight over my opponent's graveyard? Endurance is probably fine. Does Maze of Ith actually do anything? I want this in here. I take out 1 fetch land for that. And then, I don't know, maybe I will just hit the submit button. I don't know how to play this matchup. Yeah, I am in for this. Turn 1 Manabond with the hopes of turn 2 Mulch for greatness. On it, mulliganing pretty aggressively and keeping on 5. Thespian's stage, sure. After my opponent has mulligan multiple times, I don't think I hate setting them back a land drop here and just starting the game over, where I have drawn an additional card and I am already just up 2 cards Yeah, Urza Saga is fine. I could Ghost Quarter that immediately. I don't think I am going to. I think I am just going to play Manabond into Mulch and assume that Field of the Dead beats my opponent. Oh, do you have Force of Vigor? They do. Ancient Tomb now? Mox Diamond? Loam? Loam, yeah. Seems good. I now basically need to find a Manabond effect. I could Wasteland this now. I don't think that does much. I will take a Boseiju, I guess. Well, I get both of them. There's a Manabond in my graveyard. Opponent says no to Life from the Loam. Yeah, I need Exploration, Manabond, Ice Till, Explorer extremely badly, or I think I will just lose to Urza Saga Recursion. Opponent preemptively gets Soul Guide Lantern to stop me from top decking Life from the Loam, which is reasonable. Okay, that helps a lot. I will do this immediately. Surveil land seems important. I'm thinking about whether or not I am Bosejuing something. I don't think I am immediately. I'm just going to do the tapped Field of the Dead here. Opponent says no to Loam. Has another Urza Saga in hand, which I will maybe Boseiju depending on how things shake out. I will take 3 here. 17. Now gonna Surveil, try to find something a little broken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could potentially get up to that, but the Life from the Loam makes that feel weird. I think I'm gonna say no to that, but that's pretty close. The reason to say yes to it is like this potentially getting Boseju'd or Force of Vigored. Alright. I Rumble. Manabond's fine. Manabond makes a lot of friends. There's Manabond. I think I'm gonna just go for it here. End of turn trigger. All of this stuff is in play. I have a Life from the Loam in my graveyard now as well. Put some pressure on that Soul Guide Lantern. I think I'm gonna set a stop here. I think it is likely that I end up Ghost Quartering the Urza's Saga. Ooh, opponent is going for draw rather than nuking my graveyard. Oh, they're just going to get Life from the Loam immediately. Reasonable. I think I am into this immediately. Or no, I said draw step. I guess that doesn't matter as much now with Loam gone. Or Loam in hand, more accurately. I think I just don't want my opponent making robots immediately. No, I guess I can still do a draw step to give them a chance to draw basics, but I think they have multiple. Opponent floats a mana. I guess doing a draw step gives them a chance to draw something like Force of Vigor, though, and then hardcast it. Pros and cons. Move that. Stop now. So Loam does its thing. Saga comes down. This currently just trades with a zombie. That can get Bojuka Bog to keep me from doing the grossest possible stuff. But I suspect that my opponent is currently just going to die to something as simple as a fetch land. Like 20 life is not going to go very far versus this many zombies. Alright. Yeah. Use land. Oh, that's very below average. In we go. Opponent takes 8. Goes to 12. Yavimaya is one of the worst land drops that I could draw. But it's still a zombie. A fetch land would have meant that one Urza's Saga token is less effective at blocking my stuff here. I think I'm in a pretty good position, though. If my opponent can start getting multiple land drops a turn, we'll start getting a little more worried. I also could consider Walk-In Closet, where I put Ice Till Explorer. I like that Ice Till Explorer self-mills and digs towards other stuff, though. But I guess Walk-In Closet can potentially get back Manabond and Exploration. My draws are pretty bad at this stage. So here's the robot. My opponent will take 8, go to 4. And then hopefully next turn I present lethal. I still have Caracas for if my opponent finds Dark Depths. I think there's no reason to currently play the Exploration. Boseiju Caracas. Yeah. We'll use that ability. I'll Surveil while making a zombie. Maze of Ith seems fine. That is a zombie and something that interacts with 20 damage at my face directly. Because my opponent can find crop rotation here. Or, sorry, expedition map here. And tutor up the other piece of the combo. And I think I'm good against something like Tabernacle. with this much mana. This has been a pretty intricate matchup. Pretty swingy, quite tense. I'm enjoying this. All right, we have gotten the GG. I wonder if there's a winning line for my opponent where very early in the game they try to aggressively look for Wasteland. They had multiple turns where they didn't dredge Life from the Loam, and it's possible that like going for Wasteland and knocking me off of some of my early mana, or rather some of my land drops, might have kept me from making the zombies with Field of the Dead. What is this now? We are 3-1, so we are already guaranteed positive with this deck. Good day for Sandlands. GG. Phil from the future here. I'm going to cut the final round from this video. It's bad content, and I am not happy with how my opponent has been treating members of the Legacy community, and accordingly, I'm not going to showcase them on the channel moving forward. I try to make this a welcoming community for people, and in order to do that, I have to sometimes exclude toxic members from this space. The block button is your friend, folks. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This is very good against the things that it is good against. So when you get paired against something fair, and you stick your Manabond and you do your thing, or you stick your Exploration and you do your thing, you're probably going to win the vast majority of those matchups. The higher land count here did feel very, very smooth, and it meant that it was relatively easy to hit enough lands for Field of the Dead or for Exploration to keep making my land drops and let me do my thing. All of Heliod's Generosity was something I sideboarded out in many, but not all of my rounds. It is something that I talked about as having some potential. Like, I was thinking about its lines. A couple of times I did fetch out white sources to work towards this being a possible thing way down the line. But I think that's the problem. This is a way down the line thing in a deck that is trying to do its thing within the first 3 turns. And I don't think that you need this to win. I would rather this be, say, another Blast Zone, and then that can potentially free open one of my sideboard slots. I do not believe that I activated this card in this league. I believe I played it once as a 2/2 where it didn't actually do any damage because of an opposing Maze of Ith. Maybe you can go further down on these. I don't think Sylvan Library did anything today. The potential for it to help out and get me to the point where I refuel is there. I don't think I gathered enough data on this card to say whether it's good or bad, but it is my guess that I could go -1 Sylvan Library, +2 Winding Way, keep one of these around as an alternate win condition for if something happens to Field of the Dead, and the deck might just be better. Like, or cut 1 land and play 2 of these, or play 1 man land of some kind, some Lair of the Hydra style land that could kill my opponent. I'm less keen on that because of like game 1 Swords to Plowshares, exiling the creature and hence the land. But there's definitely something here. If you get rid of Hall of Heliod's Generosity, you can also get rid of Temple Garden as well. As far as the sideboard stuff goes, I conceptually like Icetill Explorer. It is a card that will bury a fair deck. It will dig you towards Loam. It will dig you towards lands. It will dig you towards Sandman. There's a lot to like here. I guess you can consider whether this is better than Walk-in Closet. I think it is, but Walk-in Closet could come down faster, which is relevant. I guess there is a question, though, like, do you need to use sideboard slots on a fair card like this, or does every single card in the sideboard need to be pointed at the unfair decks that you are probably going to lose to in game 1? That's a whole nother thing. I don't know how to best make the combo matchups reasonable in playing something that looks like this. The answer is probably play a more traditional lands deck that has access to crop rotation for stuff like Bojuka Bog that can interact in some capacity with at least some of the combo decks. But you can fill your sideboard with discard, you could splash more white and do deafening silences, you could like get Ancient Tombs and play Spheres. Like there's other options. I don't know that any of those results in your combo matchup being good though. So if you know you're getting paired into fair stuff, this deck is great, and I highly recommend it. And if your metagame is full of Storm and Oops and Doomsday, stay far away from this deck. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya.